Okay, so I'm going to make a really nice pasta dish now, and I'm going to talk to you about why I'm glad we left the European Union. Hi guys, so I'm going to make some dinner now. I'm going to make these meatballs. We got them from Asda, which is really interesting. They're made out of pea protein and spices, and they're not really that healthy because there's quite a bit of salt in there and oil. So I'm just going to have these as a little treat. I'm gonna try not to have these too regularly nowadays, mainly because I've got again a bit of tooth erosion, and I don't want it to get worse by eating lots of crappy junk food. I mean, and me and my mum used to go to cinema and we used to have half a bar of chocolate each and various other things, and I just don't think it's very good. So I'm going to cook this whole bag for three of us, which should be about four meatballs each and then one extra for Chris. So yeah, they should be quite nice. I'm going to make it a little bit more high protein by adding some peas in as well. We should add a bit more protein without making it too unhealthy and junky. That's more of a whole food. That's more of like a whole foods protein rather than this, which is a bit, processed. Okay, so I just wanted to say, my processed meatballs smell a little bit weird. They smell like a mixture between falafels and peas, but hopefully they'll taste nice. I've had peas with pasta before, and tomato sauce, and it's been quite good. The only one that I've had that the only thing that I've had that smells like peas, which was really really awful, was this protein bar that I had, and it was like a protein bar made out of pea protein, and then it had like chocolate in the middle, like it was chocolate and pea protein in the middle, very very dense chocolate and pea protein in the middle, and then chocolate on the outside, and it was really bad because you could really 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 taste this really strong pea flavour. It's awful, but yeah, this should be quite nice. So I'm going to put my meatballs in the oven for about 15 minutes. So yeah, on 180, and then I'm going to do the pasta as well. I'm just going to put the pasta on medium heat for about 20 minutes. So it should be put on about like 5 minutes before the meatballs, but I've done it at like the same time. So hopefully it's not going to be too bad. But yeah, I'm just going to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to microwave my peas for about 5 minutes. I've only got a few in there. So I'm just going to mix the tomato sauce, meatballs and pasta up together. So it should be quite nice. I might add lots of the tomato sauce so it's nice and saucy. I think I need a little bit more than that. Yeah, probably the whole jar's enough. This is quite a healthy one though. It doesn't have any additives or anything like that in it. My nan just made it with like a mixture of vegetables, tomatoes, and some mixed herbs and spices, so it should be really nice. Right, so I thought I'd try these little meatballs for you on camera before I start the video. I'm not sure quite what these are like. Mm. Okay, so these are really good. They're very, very, very meaty, I would say, and you have like a kind of pea flavour that goes all the way through. It's like a hint of peas. It's not very, very strong though. So yeah, it's really good, I think. Anyway, oh, I'm just going to talk to you about why I'm actually glad we left the European Union. Um, what is really funny about this is I used to not really care about Brexit. I used to just be a bit kind of blasé about it. When the Brexit vote actually happened, the Leave or Remain vote, I dressed up as a Disney character, which was really weird. It was as one of the kids from just it was as one of the kids from Despicable Me, and I had this little unicorn toy. I don't know if I've got any pictures of this, but I will try and insert them if I do. And yeah, I just took a picture of me sticking my tongue out and being like a bit blasé. Um, but I'm actually now glad that we've left the European Union. The number one reason is because of immigration. I think that the Australian system that Boris Johnson is imposing is a much better, fairer, and much better system than the European Union system. Now, the European Union system would allow unrestricted, well, does allow unrestricted immigration from the European Union to the UK. Um, this means that people can come here from the European Union without being able to speak the language and without a job. Now, the Australian system is much fairer because it allows unskilled workers here on short-term visas. It then allows nurses and medium skilled workers to come here as long as they have a job, and it allows doctors to come here freely. And I just think that that's a much better system. I mean, it focuses on getting highly skilled workers into the UK, which the UK actually needs, and not low skilled workers, which we might not need jobs for. So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that I'm quite happy that we've left the European Union. I also feel like it was very democratic. I mean, I feel like the government did some things which were a bit wrong, but we decided to leave the European Union. We had a vote on it, and I'm really glad that the government didn't keep on doing revotes and revotes and revotes and revotes and revotes until we voted the way they wanted to. I'm glad that we had the right to actually choose our fate and the right to vote to leave, because in some countries like China and various other countries, I'm sure, if you say anything that goes against what the government wants, you get shot. And I'm just glad that the public voted to leave and that the government pretty much respected that decision. I think that the election was very I mean, I understand why Boris Johnson did the election. He did the election so he could get a majority in Parliament that supported leave. However, I just feel like that election was a little bit undemocratic because we'd already decided to leave. I think that the MPs that were going against the referendum that kept on voting against it, and voting against it, they were being undemocratic. I mean, I think the Liberal Democrat Party was being very undemocratic because every time the Boris Johnson put through an exit policy, they just basically said they didn't want it. And they were the party very much pro-leave during the pro-remain during the election. If they got in power, they would have made us stay in the European Union. But overall, I appreciate that we had a vote, that we voted for it, and we were able to leave. The second thing that I'm really glad about is that we have more control over our laws. Now, I was talking about immigration and how we're changing to an Australian type immigration system. Now, that wouldn't be possible under the European Union laws because the European Union laws have laws on immigration. Now, I have heard from a lot of people that they say, oh, well, if you go to Spain or if you go to some other country, it's a lot more strict. And this is because you can actually impose a law where you say if someone comes to your country and they don't have a job within 3 months, that they have to return to their home country. However, I do think that the Australian system is much better. The reason for this is that we're actually focusing on those highly skilled workers. So we're focusing on the doctors, the nurses. We're only allowing unskilled workers to come in for a short period of time. And I just think that that's a much better system. The European laws, from my understanding, also don't have any regulations on how much English you have to speak, or how much of the foreign language, the language of the foreign country that you're going to, you have to speak. And I think that that's very, very, very important when moving to another country, that you're able to speak the language. Um, from someone who's worked in China, I mean, I only worked on a very short contract in China, but I couldn't imagine being in a foreign country, having to pay my rent, and the rent being in Chinese. It's just, I mean, I have to learn a lot more Chinese to move to China than I do now. And it's the same with English. You need to have a really good, well, a pretty good standard of English. You need to have enough English to be able to read your bills, to be able to understand, what your landlord's saying to you on the phone, and that kind of thing. Because otherwise, you're just going to be very isolated. And I'm glad that we have the power to actually impose a stricter immigration system. I'm glad that we have the power to impose our own laws, as opposed to laws that maybe Germany wants or France wants and we don't want. Um, anyway, thank you for watching, guys. I'm going to continue eating my pasta. And yeah, please subscribe and like this video.